All right, so 7.8, we're going to learn about Cramer's rule. So this is a new type of way to solve systems of equations. It involves matrices, but it's a bit easier than what we did in 7.4. Ms. Meadows says, "You're welcome" in the notes. It's not like a super quick way, but it is easier. So we're still finding the determinant. When solving for a variable, we replace the variable column with the answer column. So here, we start with our coefficient matrix. So given this system that we have here, we need to find the determinant of the coefficient matrix. So see how we have an x column and a y column. Then to help us find our x, we replace the x column with the answer column. And then when we solve for y, we replace the y column with the answer column. So we're finding the determinant 3 times when we have 2 variables. Yes?
On the test, are they going to ask us like certain ways of solving?
They could. We start with finding the determinant of just the coefficients. So my matrix here would be 4, -2, 3, -5. How do I find the determinant? The majors multiplied together minus the minors multiplied together. So our majors multiplied would be -20 minus the minors, so minus -6. What's -20 minus -6? -14. So that's the determinant of our coefficients. Next, I'm going to find the determinant replacing the x column. So in my x column, I'm going to put the answers here. So I'm replacing the x column with 10 and 11. Everything else stays the same. So the y column stays -2, -5. How do I find the determinant? Majors minus the minors. So we multiply our majors together. We get -50 minus the minors, which is -22. So this becomes -50 plus 22, which is -28. And then lastly, we're going to find d sub y. So that means we're replacing the y column with our answers. So 10 and 11 go in our y column. The x column stays the same. So our coefficients of the x's go in the x column, 4 and 3. Find the determinant the same way. Multiply our majors together minus the minors. So 44 minus 30. 44 minus 30 is 14. Now how we write our answer, our solution to the system, is our x is d sub x divided by d, and our y is d sub y divided by d. So that's our answer. So d sub x is what? -28, and d is -14. And then d sub y is 14 over -14. Then we simplify. So -28 divided by -14, 2. 14 divided by -14, -1. So that is our answer. To check our work, you could take x, which is 2, plug it into your x's, and you can take y, which is -1, plug it into your y's, and the solutions will make sense. Right, so we are using Cramer's rule for a 3 by 3. So we do the same thing, we just have x, y, and z here. So I'm going to start with the determinant of all my coefficients. So what would the first row be? -1, what's y? 0 and 1. The first row would be -1, 0, 1. Because we don't have a y here, so that's 0. What's the second row? 2, -1, 1. And the third row? 0, 1, -3. So let's find the determinant. What do I need to do first to find the determinant? Rewrite the first and second column. So I have -1, 2, 0, 0, -1, 1. So we start off by multiplying the majors and adding them all together, and then minus the minors. So our first major is -1 times -1 times -3, which is -3. Remember, we add all the majors together. So next I have 0 times 1 times 0, 0. And then 1 times 2 times 1, 2. And then we minus the minors all added together. So my minors are 0 times -1 times times 1, 0. Then plus 1 times 1 times -1, -1. And then plus -3 times 2 times 0, 0. So we add them together. Our majors added together would be -1 minus -1. So what is this? 0.
Doesn't that make it impossible?
Awesome. So instead of finding d sub x, d sub y, and d sub z next, we know that our solution is d sub x over d. If d is 0, can I have 0 on the bottom of a fraction? No. So this would be no solution. If you solve this any other way, so using elimination or solving using matrices, you will get no solution. So next one, starting with my determinants. What would be my first row of coefficients? -1, 2, -3. And my second row? 2, 0, 1. And the third row? 3, -4, 4. So how do I find the determinant of a 3 by 3? What's the first step? Rewrite the first two rows outside. So -1, 2, 3, 2, 0, -4. And to find the determinant, we multiply the majors together. We add the majors multiplied together, and then subtract the minors. So starting with our majors, what is -1 times 0 times 4? 0. What is 2 times 1 times 3? 6. And then what is -3 times 2 times -4? Positive 24. And then minus the minors multiplied. So this is a minor starting from the bottom. So 3 times 0 times -3? 0. -4 times 1 times -1? 4. And then 4 times 2 times 2? 16. So when we add these together, we get 30 minus 20, which is 10. So our determinant is 10. Next, we want to find d sub x. So which column am I replacing here? The x column with the answers. So I have 1, 0, 2. Everything else stays the same as the original. So 2, negative 3, 0, 1, and negative 4, 4. So I only replace the x column with the answer column here. And now you'd find the determinant the same way. So what do I have to do first? Rewrite the first two columns. So 1, 0, 2, and 2, 0, negative 4. So I start with my majors minus the minors. So our majors are 1 times 0 times 4, which is 0, plus 2 times 1 times 2, 4, and negative 3 times 0 times negative 4, 0. Minus the minors multiplied together. So minors are there. 2 times 0 times negative 3, 0. Negative 4 times 1 times 1, negative 4. And 4 times 0 times 2, 0. So we add these together. This becomes 4 minus negative 4. What's 4 minus negative 4? Positive 8. So that's d sub x. Next, I'm going to find d sub y. So now I'm replacing the y column with my answer column. So 1, 0, 2 is going to go in the middle. My x column and my z column stay the same as the original. So negative 1, 2, 3, and negative 3, 1, 4. All right, so to find the determinant, what do I need to do first? Rewrite the first two rows. So negative 1, 2, 3, and 1, 0, 2. So start by multiplying our majors. So negative 1 times 0 times 4 is 0. Then 1 times 3. And then negative 3 times 2 times 2. Negative 12. And then minus our minors. So our minors start with 3 times 0 times negative 3. 0. 2 times 1 times negative 1. Negative 2. And 4 times 2 times 1. 8. So 3 plus negative 12 would be negative 9. Minus 2 plus negative 2 plus 8 is 6. So minus 6. So negative 15. Yep. Last thing we need to do is find d sub z. So now our answer column is going in the third column. It's going in that z column. 1, 0, 2. Our first and our second column stay the same as the original. So negative 1, 2, 3. And 2, 0, negative 4. What do I need to do to find the determinant? First, rewrite the first two columns. Start with our majors. Our majors start up at the top. Negative 1 times 0 times 2 is 0. 2 times 0 times 3 is 0. And then 1 times 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. Minus the minors. So 3 times 0 times 1 is 0. Negative 4 times 0 times negative 1 is 0. And 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So this is negative 8 minus 8, which is negative 16. All right, so we write our answer as d sub x over d, d sub y over d, and d sub z over d. So d sub x is 8 over d, which is 10. D sub y is negative 15 over d, which is 10. And d sub z is negative 16 over d, which is 10. And then we just simplify. Don't forget to simplify at the end. So how can I simplify 8 over 10? 4 over 5. Perfect. How do I simplify negative 15 over 10? Negative 3 over 2. And negative 16 over 10? Negative 8 over 5. So that is our answer.